Tabe has just released Arc 9 Chapter 23, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. Highly recommend you check out my Arc 9 Chapter 22 summary. Anyways, let's begin. Old Man Rom awoke. Several hours had passed since he was knocked out. One of the three thugs, Ratchins, says Felt was taken, and it's pathetic since they started the fight, but they were the ones that lost. Rom says that the number of losses he has suffered is nothing to be proud of. Rom has lived a long time, and most of his life he had lost. However, all he tried to do was count on the small wins he did have. He usually always survived. He was unsure if he should be proud of surviving, but it allowed him to cherish the things, such as Felt. They wondered if they could track Felt, but Rom states that the Farsight blessing no longer works, since Manfred's eye was destroyed. Ron surmises that in the underworld, where blessings can be stolen, it works in a sort of scripted way. The criminals will steal the organs which have a blessing and then transplant those organs onto themselves, thereby gaining the blessing. Well, it wasn't that simple. There was another step, but that technique was known only by the criminals. Regardless, the blessed eye was destroyed, so they couldn't rely on it to see where Felt was. Graus appears, and Rom then asks if she is okay. She says that she is. After all, she is strong because she trained in the Astria mansion since she was a little child. She believes that her divine blessing will be reloaded soon, assuming her sister Flam is alive. Ratchins says to not say stuff like that, but Graus tells Ratchins to be positive. Rom then tells Graus to let him know when the divine protection is active again. Rom then says that the young should channel their frustration into determination, and he will be the one that reflects on their loss. In reality, they suffered a huge defeat, but Felt being taken was the third possible best victory. With Felt present, they can incapacitate the Dragon Volcanica. However, Rom wouldn't give up regardless. Even if he was left alive, he would move forward. Rom states that Al is pressed for time, so he won't rest well, meaning that his mental fatigue will build up, meaning that there will be an opportunity to strike. In addition, all of his allies don't really seem to be on the same page. Despite Rom's failure, life continues. The scene changes. Domain expansion, matrix redefinition. Al had set a new starting point. After 29,211 trial and errors, he believed he had passed the checkpoint. Al says he's good now, and Ye offers a lap pillow for him to lay on, but Al refuses. Al's headache has lessened. His mental fatigue was diminishing. He barely scraped out a win. Resetting his mental state isn't really an option. However, he could be absent-minded, wait a bit of time, and then drink poison, die, and then consistently reset the matrix until he felt mentally better. However, physically, he wouldn't be able to cure any issues like sleep deprivation. Al says that if he laid on Ye's lap, he would pass out. They moved westward, and Al asked Dragon Al if he tried to dope himself with dragon blood, would it be a good idea? Dragon Al says that his weak body would probably explode. And Dragon Al also states that Subaru's body was riddled with curses, hence why he was able to take Capella's dragon blood. Ye is asked if she could dilute the dragon blood, since she's an expert in poisons. But Ye says that she will pass since she doesn't want to make Al any scarier. Dragon Al is asked if his feeling for Felt has diminished, but Dragon Owl says that his feelings have only gotten stronger because he is far apart from Felt. Ye once again wonders if they can leave Felt somewhere, and Dragon Owl doesn't seem to like the idea, so it isn't possible. Regardless, Dragon Owl's reaction to Felt pretty much cements Felt's origin. Dragon Owl says that the desire in him ebbs and flows from lows to highs when it comes to Felt, but that he won't suddenly transform into Volcanica, since he is simply a dragon husk. Owl then asks Dragon Owl what other feelings does he have, and Dragon Owl says that he likes Farcel and he does not like Reed Astria. Aldebaran is caught off guard by the mention of Reed Astria, the first sword saint, and it seems like Reed was really a scoundrel. Owl then asks where Heinkel and Felt are, and it turns out Heinkel is watching Felt, to which Owl says that's the worst pairing. Owl then moves towards where Heinkel is, and Dragon Owl says he will go to where Farcel is. Owl then corrects him, saying that it's Felt, and it's important to remember the name or else he will lose affection points. Owl then walks to Heinkel. Felt tells Heinkel to not make excuses. Heinkel says that he doesn't need to. Felt says he keeps glancing at her like a scaredy cat. Despite their differences, Felt had the advantage. Owl wanted to hide away, but they both noticed him, so he had to reveal himself and walk forward. Owl then tells Heinkel to not argue with Felt. Heinkel says, does Owl think he would lose an argument to a child? But Owl says it's about the starting point. The fact that Heinkel is with Owl means that he's a traitor to Lagunica. Heinkel knew that he had disgraced the Sword Saint bloodline. He knew that his name would be marred in history for generations to come. Felt says that Heinkel needs the dragon blood to wake up his wife, Reinhard's mother, and Heinkel asks how Felt knew that. Felt says, where do you think I was when I was locked up? The Astria mansion. So Felt knows about Heinkel and Reinhard's situation. Heinkel says that she should understand him. Aldebaran will give him the dragon blood, but Felt tells him to stop making excuses. Felt scratches her head and says she would like Reinhard's mother to wake up, but she doesn't blame Heinkel for what he's doing. It's not about right or wrong, it's about how he's going about achieving it. Heinkel was defeated in a battle of words. Owl then patted him on the shoulder and relieved him of his duty. Heinkel then walks off. Owl then asks Felt if she is pissed, and Felt says that if she didn't have the thread around her neck, she would beat them up. I won't make the same mistake again, Owl mutters. Felt was a monster in the making, taught by Valgar Cromwell. Even if this was the final mission, Owl had the grow. His initial plan had diverted. Heinkel had a broken heart. Ye was hard to manage. Dragon Owl was not 100% on their side, and Felt was more of a burden than an ally. Owl states he will push himself to the absolute limit. He initially used to make short-term matrices, but they could be taken advantage of when facing multiple enemies, so he would stretch them out, even if his brain burned itself out, even if his soul breaks, at least he will achieve his goal. Once he reaches the great vent in Kararagi, he can finally clean up the messes. Felt stared at Owl, but he avoided her gaze. She looked nothing like Priscilla, yet she had the same gaze as her. Owl tells her to not look at him like that, but Felt says that she was born with those eyes, and she used to hate them, but now she likes them, and she will keep them open. Felt wants some food, but Owl says there's no eating. Owl states before they go to Kararagi, they need to make a detour, something they need for the final plan. The thing they needed was heavily guarded in the royal capital, but due to his dragon diversion earlier, most of the knights were not present in the royal capital. It took 407 attempts. Through trial and error, Aldebrand found the room. The room was sealed with magic formulas, but using the divine dragon's fang, he used it as a catalyst to break through the seals. Inside was a black mass. Aldebrand was taught about this magic by his master, and Al reached out his hand, and the black mass shattered. "Come with me, and I won't kill you," Aldebrand says. The figure stands up. Yes, 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 because it's exhilarating. My chest trembles with excitement. Roy Alard roared with excitement. The scene changes. It was the end of the world, where heaven and hell clashed. The boundary between life and death blurred. "Young master!" Flam calls out. Over the horizon, a looming mass of darkness collides with Reinhard. Reinhard had surely heard her, but he could not respond. He had to focus, or it would mean death. Countless black hands reached out to him. Wielding the sheathed dragon sword, he shattered them. 20 times a second. Steam rising from his body. A battle of legends, the Sword Saint versus the Witch of Envy. Melee took charge of the carriage. Otto and Garfiel were knocked out. Flam was too busy watching the fight, petrified. Petra was still affected by the Book of the Dead, so only Melee could function normally. Melee called out to Petra, and Petra understood and sprinted across the sand. But the sand lurched up, launching the carriage into the air alongside Petra. Melee realizes that they're doomed and calls out for Subaru. She sees a figure say, "Leave it to me!" And it's Petra, who wakes up and jumps on Petra. Petra, guiding Petra, allows Petra to spin midair, landing back on the sand, and the carriage lands perfectly behind him. They survived as they dash out of the sea of sand. Petra asks if Melee is okay, and Melee said that Petra read the book. Petra then says that, "Don't worry, I'm alright." With the battle in the background, Petra says it's okay and to leave it to her. Petra ran forward. Petra then mutters, "We have to do something, right, Subaru?" And a voice responds, "Yeah, let's do this with everything we've got." She felt the presence of someone she could no longer touch. She had to deliver the wish that must go beyond the sea of sand with all of her heart and soul. And with that, the chapter ends. So, amazing chapter. Petra is awake, but of course Petra has the sort of Subaru visions, sort of like with Melee when Subaru read Melee's Book of the Dead and would see hallucinations of Melee. Petra's obviously got the same thing. That's the reason why she's sort of speaking like Subaru and saying, "Leave it to me." Al released Roy Alard. I mean, that was kind of obvious. When I was reading, I thought it was going to be serious, but it makes sense. So I'm assuming Roy is going to be used to eat Subaru's name or something. I'm not sure. Tell me what you think, but thank you for watching.